silent, please. Salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice that this meeting was given to the Asbury Park Press on 12/16/2010. Notice is posted on the bulletin board in the clerk's office and meeting room on said date. This meeting is duly advertised. Councilman Carney? Here. McCormick?
Here.
Larry?
Here.
Ross?
Here.
Sykes? And Williams.
Here.
Also with us is Solicitor Ryan.
Opening up the agenda for meeting for August 15, 2011. We're going to go through the approval of the following minutes. July 11, 2011 for caucus meeting and closed session. Do I have a motion?
Ross.
Ross and McCormick. Councilman Carney?
Here.
Hello?
Yes. Present. Yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams.
Yes.
Next is the July 18, 2011 regular meeting and closed session. Do I have a motion?
McCormick. Ross.
McCormick and Ross. Councilman Carney?
Abstain. I wasn't here.
So you're abstaining? I
Well-
can't hear you.
She said abstain, yes.
Okay, tell her to put the mic down.
Can you
Don't
put the
keep
mic?
it up, put it down.
I didn't touch it.
No, so that you can be heard.
I wasn't
see
here,
that.
so I'm
Councilman
saying
McCormick?
Yeah.
Mary?
Abstain.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams.
Yes.
Next is the ordinance for public hearing. There are two of them. The first of which is the ordinance number 3-11 for auctions and auctioneers. The title for this one, an ordinance of the Borough of South Thames River, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 4 of the Borough Code entitled Licensing and Business Regulations, so as to add a section regulating auctions and auctioneers. Do I have a motion? No, I'm sorry, public comments. Any public comments? Seeing none,
A motion to approve.
motion to approve.
Williams.
Carney and Williams. Councilman Carney?
yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams.
Yes.
The next ordinance is ordinance 4-11, bond ordinance. It reads as follows. Bond ordinance providing for various general improvements appropriating $750,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $549,100 bonds or notes of the borough for financing the costs for said improvements authorized to be undertaken in and by the borough of South Thames River in the county of Ocean, New Jersey. Public comments, please.
If none, motion to approve.
I see none, so is there any motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank
This is for the CapEx.
CapEx, yeah.
This is bond anticipation notes for the
That's
CapEx.
gonna include a new bar
Ross.
shop if we need it. We go for it.
Williams and Ross.
Does that gonna include a new garbage truck or?
You have the, don't you have the list? Everybody got a copy of the list?
Yeah,
Of
it's
what's
in
in the
the
bond
second
interest.
page.
It's what's in the CapEx,
Oh,
part of our budget for the year.
Yeah.
Councilman Carney?
yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes,
And Williams?
Yes.
The next, two other ordinances that will be introduced. The first of which is ordinance 5-11, storm drain inlet retrofitting, and it reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of South Toms River, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 24 of the Borough Code entitled Stormwater Management so as to enact Section 24-3.1 to 24-3.6 entitled Private Storm Drain Inlet Retrofitting.
Motion?
Ernie,
Ross.
And Ross. Record will reflect that the ordinance is on the bulletin board. Councilman Carney?
yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams?
Yes.
The next ordinance for introduction is ordinance 6-11 entitled Refuse Containers and Dumpsters, and it reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of South Toms River, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 24 entitled Storm Water Management so as to enact new Borough Code Sections 24-4.1 to 24-4.6 entitled Refuse Containers Dumpsters. Any motion to approve?
McCormack.
Mary.
McCormick and Murray. Councilman Carney?
Yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams?
Yes.
And the resolution will be read and introduced by the clerk.
First resolution, whereas prior to the tax sale payment was made to the tax collector in the amount of $228.30 on Block 9, Lot 4, commonly known as 9 Center Street. Whereas the tax collector needs to remit funds to the South Toms River Storage Authority. Now therefore be it resolved that by the mayor and council of the Borough of South Toms River, that a check in the amount of $228.30 be issued to the South Toms River Storage Authority. Is there a motion?
McCormack. Ross.
And Ross. Councilman Carney?
Yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams?
Yes.
The next resolution is the SOLVE resolution. Whereas the Ocean County Special Operations Group is a program run by the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office for the purpose of enforcing the anti-drug and gang enforcement laws of the state of New Jersey. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the Borough of South Toms River and the County of Ocean as follows. The Borough of South Toms River will enter into an interlocal government services agreement outlining the Ocean County Special Operation Group. A copy of said agreement will be kept on file within the office of the municipal clerk of the municipality.
Madam Clerk, if I may, this is fairly new. I just got this today. I don't know if any of the council members have had this
I
prior.
think we got it a month ago. Didn't we get it the last council meeting?
Last
Well, we
week.
never discussed it.
Was it just a, right, it has not been
Yeah.
discussed, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to table this?
I would-
Well, the mayor's.
I would suggest that we do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a
We have-
motion to table?
It's on the agenda, so it should be a motion to table.
Motion to table?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
The mayor's
second.
request.
And Williams second.
I'll second.
Councilman Carney?
Yes.
McCormick?
No.
No, okay. Murray?
Yes.
Ross?
No.
And Williams? Carver is a special counsel for the borough for the litigation and/or negotiations involving the Miller Yacht Basin properties. Is there a motion?
Carney.
Williams.
Carney and Williams. Councilman Carney?
Yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams?
Yes.
Okay. Now I have a resolution of the Borough of South Toms River, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, supporting the establishment of the no passing zone on Route 9 throughout the entire length of the Borough of South Toms River. Record will reflect that I advertised. I have a copy of the affidavit of publication attached to the resolution.
We should grant public hearing on that even though it's a resolution.
Yes, you may open the floor, Mayor.
I open the floor, if there's any comment. Any comments going once? Twice?
Yeah.
Seeing none?
Is there a motion to approve?
McCormick.
Ross, it's already no passing zone.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
It already is.
Formality.
Right.
Councilman Carney?
Yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams?
Yes.
We're just making sure.
Okay. Now I have a very lengthy, resolution, and it's regarding the 9/11. Each councilman got a copy of it, so I'm just gonna read little items because we are going to have this at our 9/11 memorial services. Whereas at 8:46 a.m. on September the 11th, 2001, hijacked American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the upper portion of the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City, New York. And whereas 17 minutes later at 9:03, hijacked United Airlines Flight 175 crashed into the South Tower of the World Trade Center. And whereas at 9:37 a.m., the west wall of the Pentagon was hit by hijacked American Airlines Flight 77, the impact of which caused immediate and damage to the headquarters of the Department of Defense. And whereas at approximately 10 a.m., the passengers and crew of hijacked United Airlines Flight 93 acted to retake control of the airplane and thwart the taking of additional American lives by crashing the airliner in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and in doing so gave their lives to save countless others. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
Carney.
McCormick.
Councilman Carney?
Yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams?
Yes.
Okay, whereas a delay in the adoption of the borough budget has occurred, and whereas as a result of the delay, the borough did not have the approval by the state of New Jersey within the normal time frame. And whereas approval has since been given on the local budget, the tax bill for the remainder of the calendar year 2011 and the first half of 2012 will now be processed. Whereas payment on the third quarter taxes were due on August 1st, and said payments are calculated on the new rate, and whereas the tax bills must be calculated and then forward to the taxpayers and payment institution for payment of the third quarter. Now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council of the Borough of South Toms River that the grace period for payment of the third quarter taxes shall be hereby extended to September 19th, 2011. Is there a motion?
Williams.
Carney.
Williams and Carney. Councilman Carney?
Yes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams?
Yes.
Okay, and I have a resolution authorizing the signature of the mayor and the clerk between the County of Ocean and the Mathis Plaza Phase 2 walkway reconstruction and this is the agreement with the CDBG grant. Is there a motion?
Mary.
Ross.
How much was the grant for?
And Ross.
How much is the grant, Betty?
Chris,
How much
what
is the
this?
Chris,
repair?
could you please?
I believe it was, 42,000.
42,000, okay.
Will that cover the whole thing?
It's a portion of the walkway. So it's only, this is the second phase. Carney?
I just have another question. Is the borough gonna be, how much, you said it's a portion, the borough's gonna be responsible for the rest?
I'm sorry, Chris, could you?
I'd like to know what portion the borough
What the
may be
figures are.
responsible for.
I'm not exactly sure, I'd have to look at it'll cover a majority of the cost, if not all of the cost.
Chris, that's the grant.
Depending upon the bids that we receive, for the second phase of the walkway improvements in Mathis Plaza, so to finish off that project.
Chris, I believe what she's looking for is, right off the bat of that $42,000, 10% goes toward engineering fees.
And attorney.
Costs.
Engineering attorney.
And attorney's fees.
And I think that's what she's looking for.
Well, just
So
whatever.
it will
Well,
be less than
it'll go to bid and we'll have an
42.
opportunity to,
To
assess it at that
negotiate and
time,
see
yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
best cost,
Yeah.
okay.
That's-
it'll, I mean, the project will go out to bid, you'll do it.
You won't have an opportunity to negotiate, you have an opportunity to solicit the lowest bid.
Okay.
The project will be subject to the bidding.
Public bidding.
And if that turns out to be not what we really want, do we have a chance to back out of it, or?
We can reject.
You have an opportunity to reject all
With
bids,
reason,
with the
yes.
contract.
Okay.
So if the bids came in, at $80,000, for instance, we couldn't approve it, you don't have to award the bid, you can
Okay.
reject all bids.
That's what we want to know. Okay.
Can it be done in two phases instead of all at once? So we can deal with the money. Can it be done in two different phases instead of all at once, so we do have the money?
It is. This
It
is
is
our
two
second phase.
This is the second phase, but Kevin's asking if we had to split phase two in half.
All right.
I don't believe that'll be necessary.
You don't think the bids will be that
Sounds hurting.
out of it?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's not, gonna be more than what we want to spend.
Okay, on the roll call, Carney,
Yes.
McCormack,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
and Williams.
Yes.
Okay, and now I have resolution providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the 2011 budget pursuant to NJSA 48:4-87, Chapter 159. And it's the recycling tonnage grant. Other expenses, $1,887.60. But Steve, the newspaper had an article and said that we were supposed to get 2,861.
The check that we got from the state was $1,800. I can appropriate more than that.
Yeah, I know, but the paper had said 2,000.
Could have been there.
I know. We'll be on the phone with them. Okay, motion,
McCormack?
Ross.
session, and Ross. Councilman Carney,
Yes.
McCormack,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Ross,
I'd like to, I'm more than happy to see any revenue come into town. I'd really like to try to spend the next year coming up with a more serious way to get, that's really kind of pitiful. $1,880 tonnage grant on recycling. We need to come up with a serious way to get this borough to participate. I'm sure Celia will agree with that. Anything that keeps it out of the landfill, it's gotta be better, but my vote is yes, of course, but we need to get more serious about it.
and did you see on the second page of your resolution, there was the article that was in the paper today?
Mhm.
And see what the other towns are getting?
Well, they're much larger than us, but yes, we should definitely be getting a larger share of that tonnage grant. We should be recycling more than we are.
That's gonna help us with the
Now,
different piece, too.
has this number decreased or?
No, actually,
has
it's been fairly
average?
constant.
Really?
It's actually increased over the years.
Okay.
We used to get about $700 or so a year from it. We're now, there's a $3 per ton tax for recycling, which is what this money is generated from.
Okay.
So it really depends on the amount of garbage that we dispose of, not really what we recycle. So money we do get from it is from that $3 per ton tax.
But if we can get
Yeah,
them
but the upside is like Ed's saying, reduce that tipping fees, if he's,
Well, the
he's a
thing is
10%
that-
reduction in tipping fees just by
Been what it is
recycling
for
has
so
gotta be.
long.
Well,
you make money in.
the thing is that for every ton of garbage that doesn't go to the landfill, we're saving probably around $150 per ton. So it's really advantageous to the borough to encourage the residents to recycle. Saves them taxes.
Okay, Williams on the roll call. Hello?
I'm sorry, what?
I have to finish the roll call. You were the last one
Yes,
on the
and no
roll
one
call.
On the
Yes,
frontage.
yes.
Okay. And members of the council, I have one more that came in today. I didn't have a chance to put it on the agenda.
Oh, come on, it's on our
Well,
list.
what about a week's notice?
What is it? Say it.
Well, the engineer said it was quite important, so that's why it came in.
You can read it, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, that one that you wrote
Resolution
on?
of the Borough of South Toms River, setting a reevaluation of project limits for Brook Forest Drive, stormwater outfall rehab.
In all honesty, the engineer sent it to me last week, and I did not get it to Betty till today, because I had some emergency pop up last week, and I didn't get it prepared and sent to the clerk till today, so. It's my fault, but we're on the agenda in advance,
Well, we won't pick on Chris then.
Thank you for your honesty.
Is there a motion?
as always.
Motion?
Wait a second. So this is something that you're recommending, Chris?
Yes, it is.
Do you want to recap, perhaps you could recap it
Yeah,
for us,
just
it is
give us a
fairly
brief-
lengthy.
Sure, sure. The Brook Forest Drive, stormwater project, was NJDOT funded for the lining of 4 stormwater outfalls. The council, the borough had received bids for the project, we only received 1 bid, and the bid was roughly double the amount of the funds that were appropriated by the DOT, for this project. My recommendation, since we only received the 1 bid and the prices seem to be very high for this lining, is that we reduce the scope of the project so that it can be done within the amount of the grant that we received by the Department of Transportation. So instead of doing 4 outfalls, we would limit the work to 2 outfalls. And in order to do that, we need to revise the scope of the project and the agreement with the DOT to allow for going out and reconstructing only 2 outfalls at this time. We can apply for the balance of the work to be done in a current round of funding from the Department of Transportation. The borough has just been advised of the availability of funds in the 2011 program, so we could apply to the Department of Transportation to have the remaining 2 outfalls funded under the program this year.
Two thoughts that come to mind is, are you that confident that the bid we received is in line?
Yes, I've
And
checked with other vendors as well as the contractor that submitted the bid, and it appears that those prices are fair and reasonable for the work that's being done.
And would this be coming out of the cap?
No, this is a DOT
Grant.
grant
It's a
which pays
grant.
for it. Now, I can tell you, Chris, that historically, the borough has taken the DOT grant money and kind of rotated it between districts to
But
kind
didn't
of
we do this
share
area
the,
before?
share the wealth, so to
Shouldn't-
speak. We have done, yeah, well, we've cycled through
Seemed
Brook
like we
Forest.
did the same thing, or just?
No, we did a different, it was a whole different part of the stormwater system. I don't know if you have record of it, but
Okay,
it
I
was
know
before you were.
we were talking about
Yeah,
that
here.
something.
My suggestion is that we use the funds, obviously, to fund that portion for which the
Right.
money is available. And that we, if the council so inclined, that we would apply this year to do the remaining 2 outfalls. We could also submit a second project to the Department of Transportation, as well as those 2 outfalls, if that's what you're saying, that you'd like to.
Yeah, because you had said something about Lakeview before.
No, this is strictly for Brook Forest.
No, but I mean, to have some of DOT money, I thought we would rotate, like Sandy said. so
We were funded, Lakeview was funded.
Right.
By DOT last year. This is actually funding from 2 years
And that's
ago.
completed?
Lakeview has not been completed yet. matter of fact, funds for that project are included in the bond ordinance that was currently adopted this evening.
But that's what I'm saying, we're going from, hopping from one thing to another without completing.
Well, this project goes back 2 years, and we need to expend the funds by September, of what is the provisions of the grant.
So we have to
There
give
is
it
one
back.
recommending that we reduce the scope so that we can bid it and have the work done with the funds that we do have.
Okay.
Do you have to redo the request for proposal?
The
And if so, do
project
we
has
have
to be-
time?
The project needs to be rebid. We did, however, file an extension with the Department of
Oh, okay.
Transportation in the event that we don't receive bids or we go to contract in September.
Is the fund that we're gonna receive adequate enough to complete this project?
If we
By
reduce,
reducing the
by
scope,
reducing
yes,
the scope,
okay.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause we
We
gotta
think.
complete some things
We hope.
here.
We hope.
Okay,
We hope.
Kearney,
McCormack?
Councilman Carney?
yes.
McCormack?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams?
Yes.
That's it.
The next on the items is item number 9, permission. We have an event coming up on September 24th, 2011, and it's hosted by the Second Chance for Life. They'll be sponsoring, they'll be hosting an event which will be their first annual Eco Fair at Masters Plaza in South Toms River. Again, it's gonna be on September 24th, 2011.
Motion, granting permission, and they received the whole harmless agreement, I'm waiting for that to come in.
Have we received an insurance certificate naming the borough as co-insured? Okay.
I'm waiting for that.
JIF, I'm sure, has guidelines on how much coverage there has to be, and, yeah, typically, yes. But JIF will tell us what it has to be. I know the county's is higher than that, but nonetheless. So you'll provide that?
Motion, granting permission, subject to
McCormack.
receiving the second.
Williams?
Councilman Carney?
Abstain.
McCormack?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
And Williams?
Yes.
That is, of course, purely pending the hold harmless and the certificate.
That's what I said,
Right,
subject
two-
to.
right, thank you.
But the appointments, we can wait till after, closed session, Mayor.
Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
Next on the items is reading and approval of vouchers for payment.
We didn't have any appointment.
Still for the insurance.
I got it.
Any comments? Any comments from the public?
Are copies out, Steve? Are there copies of the bill list out, Steve? If anybody needs a copy to look at, you're welcome to mine.
Questions on, the bill list?
Excuse me, sir, state your name, please.
Huh?
Said state your name.
For the record.
Ernest C. Hammond, 8 Robert Drive, South Towns River,
Thank you, sir.
loyal taxpayer, and aggravated by how much money we spend on these police cars constantly.
I think you should open an auto repair shop, and we send you the contract to do
I
it.
think that would be a lot better.
Ernie's Auto Body, sounds great, has a ring to it, doesn't it?
2010, it seems to me that, which one is 2010, does anybody know?
I think it's the, is it the Durango?
No, I think it's one of the Durangos.
Because, let me list out from January up to a month ago, and it seems that 2010, comes to my mind, has been spent a lot of money on that car. We got four tires, 723. I've never seen so many police cars with so many 4 tires in my whole life as South Mountain River.
Then I come up to, car one. Is that the chief's car?
I'm sorry, which page you on?
2901.
Page number, Ernie.
Which page is that?
What's the
Page number.
Page two.
Page two of the call out.
Of four of the call-out list.
Yeah, the transmission.
It's either the chief's car or the lieutenant's car. It's one of those.
But why are we replacing a whole transmission that got to that point?
Because it doesn't run.
Yeah, but why did we get to that
Sometimes it's
point?
cheaper to replace them than it is to try to
Fix.
repair them.
Don't you do maintenance to keep you from having to do
Yep.
that?
But if it's shot and they can't fix it, you gotta replace it. If it's burned up, you need to replace it.
A lot of these things
I
are
know,
not
but
really.
why
I'm
did we
sorry,
get to
Anthony.
that point?
You have a public comment.
I say, if they're worthy of getting fixed, I say, get it fixed, but I think a lot of this stuff is just added on stuff. That's cost an awful lot of money if you figure it all out for the last 6 months of what you spent on a lot of these cars, especially one or two of these. You spent almost $6,000, $7,000 on these cars already this year. That's a lot of money. The other question I have is, on the, fallout list on page 101. Mr. Major, consulting, Route 166 underground, under tanks, 544, what's that?
Which page? What page is it?
That's correct. We received a question here from the Department of Environmental Protection regarding the building storage tanks, at the Mass Plaza site, that they were removed there.
Those tanks were taken out a
Those
long
tanks
time
were taken
ago.
out around 87, and I don't know how much we spent by engineers, no fault of yours, but that's
Doesn't
what I'm
matter if the
saying.
state continues to keep them on their radar. I mean, we have to address it.
Yeah, but we're not paying a bill until that, we're not
Chris,
paying
was
that
that
bill.
survey
Did that
you had
already.
to complete?
That's correct.
It was a survey that, Chris just came into it and he had to complete it. They send it to us every year.
And we have to pay?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
it's the
correct.
engineering fee.
Yeah,
Okay.
as an engineer, I just don't understand, it's the same tank for Master Plaza. This is something going on since in the 80s.
Yeah, can we put a stop to that?
There's an update required by the Department of Environmental Protection relative to the removal, as it pertains to the closure process for those tanks, which has not been reported.
Sure.
There is no tanks up in there.
That's correct, but the closure process was never completed.
Okay.
Well, that's what I'm saying, can we complete it now so we don't have
The
to?
process was never completed.
That's correct.
Can it be completed now, Chris?
If this was a
Huh?
procedure that was never completed, that's been going on since the 80s, how come the mayor and council never knew that was never completed, so it was done? I know it's so close, but yours, you just picked up, or where somebody else left off, but I'm saying to the mayor and council, somewhere along the line, somebody dropped the ball without, letting you know it wasn't completed.
Well, that had to be council's back.
You're talking about current,
Regardless, but I mean, there's something wrong here. We're paying for something that should have been completed way back in the 80s and the 90s.
We're going forward, can we close it out now?
I'm investigating what needs to be done to do that, yes.
and how much would that cost us to do that?
I'm still in the process of determining what remains to be completed.
Okay.
I'm responding to the inquiry by the Department of Environmental Protection.
Okay.
But the reporting, whatever had to be done, is done.
Your part is done, right, Craig? For
Like
this
the
year's
fi-
review?
What you're billing us for, that part is done, was that the reporting piece?
That was the work that was done to date. There is additional work that will be required, but I need to determine what still remains to be completed. But the process has not been finished with the department relative to the closure of the tanks.
And can we hold off on the bill until all that is figured out?
No.
Why would you wanna hold up?
Why would you wanna hold
It's his
off
work,
on
it's his bill. It's not the bill to DEP, it's a bill for his work. I mean, if you don't want to do the work, you can tell them,
Yeah,
but it's gonna
no,
keep
what
coming up.
I'm saying is that it still there's more to be done. So you're just gonna bill, so then we'll get another bill for the next piece?
Balance.
They're going to be done.
Okay, any other questions, Ernie?
No, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions on the voucher list? If not, council has any questions?
Yeah, I got one, the call-out list, page 3 is 6, portable toilets, what was that for?
For our
For the event.
international festival.
Festival.
We have two that we're putting out there, an ADA and a regular.
So, yeah.
That's us. Still, leave it at that.
Okay, if there's no other questions from the council, a motion is in order to approve.
Can I just ask a question, because I know we're supposed to be on the vehicle maintenance thing, and like Ernie was saying about the tires, I mean, 4 tires at one time, and don't you usually rotate, do two, the 2 worst ones, rotate and whatever, I mean, you don't usually change 4 tires at one time. I mean, why would you let them get to
They may
the
have-
point where you need all 4 tires at one time?
They may have been rotated previously. I don't know the answer to your question, but that's possible.
But I mean, you get 2 and 2, you don't usually get 4 tires at
Well,
one time.
actually, if they rotate them properly, they do wear pretty evenly.
That's all it is.
If they were in fact rotated properly throughout the life of the tire, they wear fairly evenly, and then you would replace them. And of course, police tires get much more abuse and wear than a regular car tire.
But everything's being maintained at the proper time.
I don't
I
know
mean,
that.
because we had this big, the reason why I'm bringing it up, because we had this issue a few years ago where the police cars were not being maintained. And so then we had all this money that we were spending on things, this was even before you came on Mayor. And then even after, which is why we ended up buying those new cars, because maintenance wasn't being done. And it was promised that maintenance was gonna be done on these new cars in a timely manner so that we don't get stuck with big bills at one time. So, I mean, somebody's supposed to.
Well, even with maintenance on the vehicle, they're gonna break down. I mean, you can keep your maintenance up
Well, then they
to
need to
snuff
buy
and
a
still gonna have a
Nissan
problem
Altima,
with a piece of
because
equipment.
I've had my car 6 years and I haven't had any trouble with it, because I keep maintenance done on it.
Well, that's a good video.
You made Billy go out and stand on it.
Notice nobody sits near Bill.
I don't blame them, but the one you'd have to ask is the chief, because they run their,
Their department.
the department there, he's in charge of that, and overseeing his vehicles being maintained and everything to make sure it's done correctly. But you're going to have problems where you're going to have to replace big pieces of equipment, like the transmission or 4 tires. It's just wear and tear on the vehicles.
But you mentioned your car, but to be fair, the usage of your car versus a police car is not comparable.
Oh, I go back and forth to Asbury every day, which is way farther than
Chasing
this
people.
town, and I go up to Fairville twice a week with my car.
Well,
Actually, has there been any regular reporting and maintenance to the police committee?
No, I haven't gotten it, I think I'm one of the.
It's an issue that, it's an inquiry that can't be answered tonight. So we either don't pay the bill or we pay the bill, but to get an answer, someone's gonna have to refer it to the chief or the police committee and get an answer that way.
No, we have to pay the bill, but I just would like to make sure that we're doing proper maintenance on the car.
Betty, would you send a memo to the chief asking him to
Yeah.
respond in writing as to why those repairs were necessary?
And I would recommend approving it subject to the answer from the chief.
Wait a minute,
Well, no,
the work was done already, so.
The work is done, we have to pay it, but I just wanna make sure that the proper maintenance is being done in a timely manner. You don't wait till the tires are down to the thread to get new tires.
Okay.
You know, I'm female and I know that.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the vouchers for payment.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Second.
Ross.
That was classic.
Councilman Carney,
Yes.
McCormick,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
And Williams.
Yes.
Any other business? You do? We want to start from right
Oh,
to the end?
Sure. The only thing I need to report on, the summer camp.
Yeah, we're going just
Other business, Sandy.
Other
Oh, I'm
business.
sorry. No, I don't have any other business
Okay.
other than reports later on, I guess.
Yeah, we're doing it. I know you're hot.
That's right, I'm excited.
I wanted to make a request. I did, but I found out that we do have a sprinkler system on Mathis Plaza, but I was told that there is a part of it that, where there is not a sprinkler system. So I'd like to find out what part that is and make a special request for, the upcoming event on the 27th and the 28th and September 24th, because they're special events and some of the vendors have, carts or trucks or whatever that, you know, they'll need to use to, you know, for their vendorship. And I'd like special permission for them to use it based on a certain area where they would have to park, so they don't mess up the sprinkler system that I understand we have.
We have a hand here, public comment.
Mayor and Council, in response to Councilman Carla, if she's referring to them to park on the grass, that's a no-no because we have a sprinkler system in number one. Number two, if they start the presence of somebody coming in, parking here or there, it's gonna have people parking in the future, any place they want in town to sell this, that, or the other thing.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Carla, you're starting a precedent if you.
No, what I said was just for special events. We're having 2 special events coming up, and some of the vendors have equipment that they need to, that they use as part of their, what they're selling. So I know that area there where the gas station used to be, there's no sprinkler system there. So why can't some, you know, like maybe a truck or whatever they need to use park there, and whatever, I said, whatever other areas where the sprinkler system is not at. And just for special events, it's not setting a precedent for somebody to just pull a hot dog truck up on any given day. We're talking about just for a special event. And at some point, I would like to maybe change the ordinance to say that, but because of the time, and we have an event coming up in 2 weeks, and another one next month, and why can't we give special permission for that, just for these 2 events for now?
Also, we have an ordinance that says that hot dog vendors or vendors cannot park, they have to keep moving. They're not even allowed to sell hot dogs, but the other vendors, like the ice cream, they have to keep moving. That's what our ordinance states.
So the others
Ernie, I'm talking
doesn't,
about special allowance for, because of a special event. I'm not
They'd have to
talking
make
about.
an ordinance for that then.
No, we can give special, we're the council, we can give a special allowance for these 2 events, and then we would amend the ordinance later if we want to.
Carla, if they're parking over there,
And we would tell them
Hang
where
on a
they have to
second.
park.
hang on a
one at
second.
a time, please.
Now, the old outside perimeter of that park is parking lot, am I correct? Where you can park vehicles. You're not gonna have, when you have that fair over there, you are not gonna have cars parking there. Not with the people walking around. There should be no parking over there. That's where you set them up on the asphalt, on the outside rim of that, and it won't be on the grass. And they can run whatever wagons they want or whatever. There should be no parking in there whatsoever. And all the parking should be across the street.
Right, for the people
And that's where
coming.
and that's where they should set up on the asphalt. Because you have sprinkler systems and other things
At
that can be
Mathis
damaged.
Plaza, though.
You have underground utilities there with pedestals in there. If they run over there and crush that, that means Jersey Central's gotta come in and replace it, and they're not gonna do it for nothing. They're gonna charge you to replace that. So there's other things in the ground there, and once you get a precedence of people falling on the grass, it's over.
No, what I'm saying is.
I
they would
understand,
have to
but
get-
if
they would
there's
have to
nobody
be told
parking over
where
there,
they
there's
could
no
park
reason why
it.
they can't park on the asphalt. None. There's no reason.
On the asphalt at Mathis Plaza.
Now, who would make the
That's fine.
determination as to exactly where would we be able to park? Like, do you have to identify where the sprinkler system?
Well, we would have to tell them where they can park at.
The
Somebody
problem is
has
a
to
little
know
bit
where-
greater than that, though. Ernie's point is, and I reviewed the ordinance, you don't allow food vendors, period, to be in a vehicle or trailer or anything like that. So,
But
you
we
are
had
allowed to
food
have,
ven- We had food vendors for the
He's
spring fair,
talking.
so I don't know what you're saying. We had food vendors, when we had that spring fair, we had
I'm
food
sorry, I was
vendors.
trying to explain why your motion is necessary to allow food vendors, because it's currently prohibited by the ordinance.
Right.
So it's not just a question of where they can park, whether you put them on the grass or the asphalt, you can't have them anywhere. The ice cream truck, the ordinance reads for a frozen dessert truck, as long as he keeps moving, he can stop to service a customer. When that customer's done, the ice cream truck has to continue on again. So if you want to have an ice cream truck just park and sit there all day, you'd have to have this special permission for them to do that. The better procedure, of course, would be to amend the ordinance, but we don't have time to do that between now and August 27 and 28. So the council was willing to entertain this, or we can wait till tomorrow night when we have a special meeting to determine if all the rest of the paperwork's in order, for that matter.
She's also making a reference to that also for the Eco Fair that
Right.
she's going to have in
Right, for the
September.
two, because even if we change the ordinance, even by the September event, we wouldn't have enough time.
Right, you need
So
first
that's
reading in
why-
September, second reading in October, so you can't be done in time for either one of the
So
two.
that's what I'm saying, if we could give special permission, and then we would have, they can't just pull up anywhere, I'm saying, we would have to tell them where they can park, so that they don't damage anything.
I don't mind them selling the stuff there, but I don't want them on the grass.
Well, that's, you could grant special permission for them to park where directed by whoever, chief of police, code enforcement officer, somebody. You have another hand in the back, ma'am.
Yes, go ahead.
How come the cars were not an issue in May? We all drove on the grass in May. I'm speaking, I had a roof, and I drove my truck onto the grass, as I was told that I was allowed to. There was no mention of sprinklers, there were several food vendors. One had a big truck, an enormous truck. I have the business card. So if we're gonna enforce the rules, let's enforce them to everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
Nobody was allowed to stay parked there.
No, but and no,
They did drive on them.
cars, you're allowed to set up and break down, and then you have to move your cars off by a certain time. Nobody mentioned sprinklers, nobody mentioned hot dog
Right, but I
carts,
think the concern is the vehicles that come in that are, the vehicles are where they actually serve from. There were
Right.
no food vendors that served from the vehicle.
Because they weren't
All of them
allowed,
served
but they
from
did
tables
want
or
it.
tents.
Not the kettle corn people.
Their vehicle left. They parked, dropped their stuff off, and the vehicle
Right.
left.
They had a big truck, right?
If they didn't stay parked there.
But Sandy,
Well,
that's because
even-
they were told they
Well,
couldn't,
either
and
way,
we
there's a-
arranged,
I'm
but what
sorry.
I'm asking.
Even if that happened then,
special
I wasn't asked to look at the ordinance before that. I was asked to look at it this summer, I looked at it this summer, and that's all prohibited. So, I mean, if we screwed up, and even we screwed up and allowed it then, the point is, we gotta do something going forward, so.
A hot dog cart isn't enormous. It's a lot smaller than my truck.
Believe me, you don't have to convince me, I'm just telling you what it says.
Well,
I express no opinion on the wisdom
How
of
about if we
it,
just
just tell you what it
consider it
says.
suggestion?
One at a time, please.
Going forward, I would like to make a request to have, allow that for these two events, and somebody, whoever knows where sprinklers and stuff are, say exactly where the trucks would have to go, but
Well,
allow them to have their trucks there
I
if
could,
they need
I
to.
could support the special permission if it were restricted to the paved areas that Ed's
Okay,
described,
that's
and the
fine.
area where the gas station was removed, where
Okay.
the old.
Where the old gas station
The
is.
eyesore was removed.
Okay, and then that's the.
Western side of the property, yeah.
Western
Don't
side.
forget, you gotta put
Okay.
emergency equipment over there too.
But one
Those trucks ain't fitting in
stipulation,
the parking, you're gonna put them over there.
the county is coming in to renovate that area.
When?
It could happen any day because we're asking for it to occur before our international festival. And that's the parking where the vacant building was taken down.
I thought they were gonna redo the pavement, I thought you were trying to
No,
get
no,
them
for
redo
the
the pavement.
decoration, the decorating, not the pavement going around. We got the, people from the county that are gonna help us decorate that area.
You mean landscape it?
Landscaping,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And we're hoping that'll be done before the festival.
So then that area would also really not be conducive to have vehicles
Parking on it.
parked.
On the front part of that, where they.
So now you're
So
back to
all-
just where you were talking about, all the paved area.
Well, in front of that, where the pavement was, that'd be perfectly put like the first aid, your emergency equipment that you're gonna need on.
Well, I know you wanted a big truck for a generator for backup too.
Yeah.
How about the stage?
Oh, you got a stage.
Did you get a stage?
You know.
Yes,
Yes.
So where's the stage going?
it's gonna be in front, of where the old gas station used to be. It's gonna be like right on that driveway, but in front of it.
On the grass?
No,
Right,
right
the
next to the
parking
drive.
space is
Like
there.
parking space.
Oh, so that's where we're talking about allowing the people
The
to
emergency.
You got the whole horseshoe. There's plenty of asphalt there to park the
Okay.
trailers or the trucks.
And
And
that's
you know what, I don't
fine,
care what they
that's
did in the
fine.
past, because I didn't know what they had on there in the
Yeah.
past, what they did, but you're not supposed to go on the grass. We have an ordinance for that. We have a sprinkler system in there. You have electrical utilities that can be damaged. These are all the things you gotta put into play here.
And
And you just can't say we're gonna waive it, because if damage happens, who's gonna be responsible for it? We are.
No, I'm not saying to waive that, and I agree with that.
That's what I'm trying to
saying- No, that's fine, it could go on the pavement, but what I wanna do is just allow it for those two events.
Well, that's fine. I don't, like I said, I don't have no problem as long as they sit up on the pavement,
Yeah.
but on the grass.
Now, what about the stage? Is the stage gonna be on the grass?
No, it's not gonna be on the grass.
It's gonna be totally on the
On
pavement?
the pavement, yeah.
Ernie just had a question too, what's on?
What is gonna be the size of these lunch wagon trailers, or the big trailers, or what?
But what's the limit?
They're not
Doesn't
tractor
have anything to
trailers.
do with it? If a guy comes, say 10 vendors come with a small one, and one guy has a 40-footer, there ain't enough room, what are you gonna throw out?
Well, we'll worry about that when the time comes.
Well, we
If
didn't have
if it's
anybody
not
that
enough,
big.
the room runs out, then there's no more room, then they can't have
It's
it.
limited.
But it's only limited space, so it
Space
has to
will
be
be
like
limited.
like say the first five, first come, first served. We don't know, we just, whoever the vendors
Well, are we
are.
gonna get a list of vendors tomorrow night?
We're supposed to,
For which
Then we
event?
will have, I'm
so
sorry,
it would be
For which-
limited
for the
for
August
that
event?
type of
Yeah,
vendor.
yeah, for the International Festival.
Yeah, it would be limited for that type of vendor.
So that needs to be made very clear to the promoter then, because he's the one selling these vendor spaces,
Right,
right?
right.
Correct.
So he needs to understand,
We also-
he's seen it, I assume.
He has.
The promoter has seen Mathis Plaza?
Yes, on
And he
several
knows the
occasions.
limitation of where they're gonna be able to park, where people are gonna be able to drive, where things are gonna be set up, and we have to have room for emergency, for first
Yeah,
responders.
absolutely.
That has to be there.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
Okay, next.
Well,
Well,
I
we
make a
didn't resolve
motion.
anything.
I have a motion.
I make a motion
I
to
appreciate you,
allow,
you know,
based on what we talked about, that it has to be on the pavement and it has to be a limited amount. I make a motion that we allow, truck vendors to park during the two special upcoming events.
Is there a second?
I'll make the second.
Councilman Carney?
Yes.
McCormick?
No.
Murray?
No.
Ross?
so long as it's restricted to the pavement, literally, truly, nothing on the grass, I'll vote yes.
And Reyes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, monthly reports, the favorite part, Ross.
I have two things I need to report on. The summer camp ran for the month of July and was another success. Many, many thanks to the rec commission and the members. Don Williams, Bill Gleason are here. There are many other people who helped out. It was a great time. We were full this year. That hasn't happened in a couple of years. There were 60 kids and a great staff returned, and the kids traveled and had a blast. And thanks to everybody, Steve, all your help with the funding and all, and I appreciate that. Keeping track of the revenues and expenses. So that's a great thing. Glad it's over and looking forward to next year. So, also the Municipal Alliance's Back to School Extravaganza was this past Saturday. We distributed approximately 130 backpacks full of supplies, donated. Many of the items donated, some of the items funded through the Alliance. Another great event. Don Williams there all day, I think.
Yeah.
And
all
working
day.
hard, Bill Gleason there all day, and Mary was there, and Eleanor were there, and a lot of people helped out on that too, and I appreciate everybody's help. That worked out really well. We had a community yard sale, which this was the first year we had that in conjunction. We had 10 people there. It was an inauspicious start, but hopefully it will improve. I think perhaps we should consider continuing that. A lot of people in town hooked up with that and had yard sales in their yards. So I'm not sure how you stop that, but it wasn't as well attended. Yeah, there you go. It wasn't as well attended, that part, as we hoped, but it was there. Eleanor set up, and I appreciate your coming. I hope you sold something. There were 10 spaces sold. 10 people paid for spaces, so. I know people left early, and I'd hoped that attendance during the extravaganza was probably pretty good. In the town, you mean? That's always.
We issued out about 3 or 4.
No, there were lots more than 3 or 4 yard sales.
Well, it was the first one, so.
I know that.
Next year
That's why I say I hope that it improves. The extravaganza went fantastic. Lots of kids got lots of good stuff. Vendors came inside, not vendors, I shouldn't call them, civic organizations, the sheriff's department, many thanks to them. The library sent stuff in. The county department of health, human services was there with a wonderful thing. Dr. Ripley was there, chiropractor set up, and it was a good day. It was a good day. Many thanks to All American Deli, who donated all of the refreshments, virtually all of the refreshments that were served for free. So, an excellent day. Fire and first aid were there. Kevin, thank you very much for that. And police were there for a while, and kids got a chance to look at equipment, and it was a good day. It really was a good day. Weather was in our favor. Thank God. The next day wasn't so nice. But nonetheless, thanks, Mayor.
Excellent report.
Ed?
Mr. Mayor.
Also on Saturday, we had the baseball picnic. Veterans Park this year. We had it over at Winding River. All the kids got the trophies, hamburgers, hot dogs. They had a good time had by all that showed. They got their trophies. Pop Warner football is up and running. This weekend coming up, we are sending our midget team to Ohio. They're playing in Canton, Ohio at Hall of Fame. We're playing a team from Chicago.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to be out there with my son. He's playing. I'm not coaching that division. I'm coaching one lower than him, but I will be out there with my son playing. He's one of the starting players on the team. So is my nephew and a whole bunch of other guys from town. So they got a bus. They're leaving it on Friday. They'll be back on Sunday. Hopefully they'll have a good time and win, lose, or draw. You know, first one out of the chute for them. You know, it doesn't really count, but you know, it's something to be proud of. So I'm going to go out there and support them. And our season will be starting within the next couple of weeks. So within 3 weeks, Pop Warner, not Pop Warner, it's not Pop Warner anymore. It's American Youth Football League. Sorry. So I used to say Pop Warner. They changed it up this year, and it will be starting. And our boys or the Townsville Raiders will be having a friendship game against the Angels. And I'll give times and dates on that.
Where would that be?
That would be at High School East. It's home at their field this year. Last year it was at South, which is our home field. And this year it'll be at East. We'll play them at East.
Oh, that's excellent.
So just here, I'll give a schedule up for everybody later on. I haven't got it myself yet. As soon as I do, I'll let
You got off, so you could go.
Yeah.
It's my long weekend off too, so I'm all set.
Good.
Bring the trophy home, man.
I hope so. Thank you. Thank you, man.
Ohio, right?
In Ohio.
My grandson.
Ohio.
With Lacey too?
Yes, Lacey's also going.
Yes,
There's a
Lacey.
bunch of teams from the old Jersey Shore, and how they picked them is they put all the names in a hat. And what they did is, if you wanted your midget team to go, you put your hat in there for the midget team. And Lacey's midgets and our midgets were picked, and a couple other teams for the lower divisions were picked to go. So there's going to be a group of kids out there, and it's really good. You get to go to the Hall of Fame. You get to walk through that.
My grandson's on the football team.
Yes,
Football.
the football. It's football. Strictly football. That's cheerleading.
Okay, good.
Excellent. See? South River is on the map. Nationally and, of course, internationally. Speaking about internationally, as you all have heard, we will be hosting an international summer festival. We're not just inviting nationals, but we are actually inviting officials representing those nations. We have had responses from Italy, Ireland, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, and Mali. And most of those ambassadors I've had a chance to sit down and meet with them in New York, which makes it very interesting. you know, how people are struggling with, where's South Tom's River? Where's that, you know? They're getting to know where we are. And on Monday, I was invited to speak to before a whole group of dignitaries from Mali. And of course, I had to speak a little French to them. And the Ministry of the Women Affairs was present. She was very pleased to hear what we had to say about the value and importance of women in a society. And so this international festival is really taking form, and we pray and hope that it will bear great success. Even though this is going to be our first time having such a event of that magnitude in our recent history. Before I left, actually I went to Haiti on a mission with a delegation. We brought a water purification system that costs about $120,000 or $30,000, which is self-generating. It produces energy coming from solar panels. This is the first of its kind, especially when there is no electricity in certain parts of Haiti. And we saw people lined up to drink potable water, and that really warmed my heart because a lot of people are dying of cholera because of lack of clean water. Just to think of the water that you guys or we drink on a daily basis as a medicine, you know, you'll think twice about the value of drinking water, and you put the soda down for a second. So that was very uplifting. This machine produces about up to 30,000 gallons of water per day, and I was so happy to be part of this rewarding mission. And of course, I couldn't leave South Tom's River without leaving my mark, you know. So what I did was, myself and Don William, we went on Marcus Plaza and we trimmed the trees, and we cut a lot of the branches. There was a tree that was protruding out of the concrete right next to the river that was really into the water. You're talking about eyesore. This is really was an eye scratch.
When the sword.
In the sword, exactly. And so we caught it admirably with my suit on. No, I took off the jacket. You know.
Yeah, we made you take off your jacket.
He did.
He was making us look bad with a suit and tie on out there.
I had just come out of my office, so I took an hour break. My secretary said, "Mr. Champagne, are you coming back?" I said, "Yeah, give me 15 minutes." And I didn't have a chance to see her. I didn't realize I was going to cut so many branches from the tree anyway. So truly, I intended to come back in 15 minutes. But when I start working and get passionate about things, I just don't stop. But in any case, that's my little report. So, Mr. McCormick.
I'm going to link you.
Come back tomorrow.
All right, Office of Emergency Management. Fill the public in, what we've done in the last few years, we're up to 24 members, which is a lot for a small town. We took some of Ocean Gate, and some of Berkeley come to our side because they're not happy with their towns, and they like our training program. In the last 3 years, we've taught CDL training, and Steve's taken it along with us. He's on our emergency management. We've trained him in driving buses. This Friday night, they're going to classes on how to move in fire engines. Because if we have an event where I need to go over and drive something, I can't get firemen, we're going to get something there. Now, just so you know, I'd like to praise these people. You know, they've been doing a great job, and everything I put out there, they do it. January, this is my 30th year in emergency service.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
You know, but if you have questions or if you want to come observe, we have a daytime drill on August 31st. It's a Wednesday. It's only a rehearsal for the FEMA drill, which is September 27th. And you come to daytime one, you can only come to the door, look and see how it's run. September 27th, you cannot come. That's graded by the state and FEMA. They do graded the door right onto the whole system. The whole team gets graded on all their jobs. And I have so many members because we could break it down into groups if we have to do it hourly. And we could break it down into 3 groups, 8-hour shifts. So as far as OEM and your FEMA and everything, they're real happy with South Tom's River. They don't have any complaints. So that's it on OEM.
I just want to speak a little bit about the event, coming to the special events committee. You know, everybody's doing their share to work really hard to make it a success, and we're wishing the best. I will be here that weekend. This is my family reunion. I mean, that weekend is every year, but I do wish 100% and more success to the event. And also, you know, I want to thank Steely's working very hard for the Echo Fair. I think it's going to be a great thing for our town. And, you know, it's going to bring the Eco Fair. I said Echo again. The Eco Fair, it's going to be I think, very good for our town. And I just hope that, you know, everyone is able to participate and, you know, bring, between the 2 events, bring everything that's best for the town to the table. So that everything is a success.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to say, recently I started walking 2 hours a day
Go ahead.
around South Tom's River. And every time you walk 2 hours a day around South Tom's River, you see a lot of stuff. And I noticed that on Addison Avenue, the cars coming in there are doing a pretty good clip. So I said, well, let me see where the speed signs are on Addison Avenue. There are no speed signs on Addison Avenue. There should be speed signs on Addison Avenue. Now, I went up and down Chamberlain Street 4 times looking for it. I found one. My wife says there's 2, but I only found one speed sign behind the tree that's overgrowing down.
We're gonna call it, don't worry about that.
And we need some signs on Addison Avenue.
Yeah.
We need some signs on Chamberlain Street. The streets coming into town, everybody's coming down Dover Road to 40 miles an hour, and they whip around the corner onto Addison Avenue, and they're still doing 40 miles an hour. Because they're passing me by on the street, and I'm running up on people's lawns to get out of the way. I run up on people's lawns. When somebody's doing 40 miles an hour, I will run up on somebody's lawn to keep from getting my little butt run over. And you know, it might sound funny, but when the car's coming 40 miles an hour at you and you're walking and it's on your side of the street, you ain't got much room to move. So I will climb on somebody's car if I have to get the hell out of the way. Because I'm not going to get run over by these guys. But we need speed signs because the cars are coming in way too fast. And if you could sit a cop there at night with his lights off, let him sit in the middle of the road. Get one of them old cars and sit in the middle of the road. Let him hit that son of a gun, and let the cop sit way back on the side. You know, get one of them old cars. Let him sit in the middle of the road with no lights on. Because they're coming around those corners too fast. Somebody's going to get killed. And there's a lot of kids out there in these streets. You know, there's a lot of kids walking around. And it's amazing to me that there's no street sign, no speed limit sign.
25 miles per hour is the
residential.
town
Don,
speed
there
limit,
was
so-
speed signs on there.
There are none, believe me.
No,
I
Well,
believe
was.
But most
believe you.
towns,
Okay,
I
most
believe you.
towns is 25 or 30, people should know that. Most
I
towns
think they
is
got a
25 or
scavenger
30.
hunt or something.
By state law,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
not posted. It's 25 residential,
Right.
50 rural, unless otherwise posted. So the police can still write tickets there for 25 miles an hour, even if there's not a sign, even a
Right.
sign on there. Now, if you think the signs would slow people down,
They
that would make
would.
a difference. They might.
They
Right.
tried to get the speed bumps and.
Well, speed bumps are really not permitted anymore, but, because they're not, the Commissioner of DOT says speed bumps are not, you ever see, they have these elongated things called humps
Yeah, it's
now?
a hump,
And
yeah.
they're only permitted in certain places. I mean, there's a procedure to get approval for them, but they're considered to disrupt the flow of traffic, so they don't really allow speed bumps. You know, what you see
Also-
is parking lots.
Even residential.
Also, I noticed on Dover Road, the speed limit comes down Dover Road is 40 miles per hour. Even at 7-Eleven, the speed limit is 40 miles per hour. I think when it gets to 7-Eleven, it should not be 40 miles per
That's
hour.
county road, yep, yes,
Yeah,
it's county.
we've
road.
asked that.
Well,
They're
I don't
not
care,
gonna
I
do
don't
that.
care if it's owned by the Arizona. I want it changed.
can ask the county.
I want to change.
They're very reluctant to do that.
Well, then I will call them and do whatever I have to do, write letters. I'll get a letter writing campaign. I don't care. I'll do whatever I have to do. But I want 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. You go to Englishtown, it's 25 miles an hour going to Englishtown. You go to other towns, it's 25 miles an hour. Go to Beechwood, it's 25 miles. Go to Whiting, it's 25 miles an hour. You come to South Carolina, it's 40 miles per hour. It should be 25 miles per hour. Because when they're coming up to the parkway, they're doing 40 miles an hour. And it shouldn't be allowed because it is our town. They're coming to us.
Obviously,
The
the
chief
speed
said
limit has
all
to be
our
enforced.
streets are 25 miles per hour.
I think there's a comment
all ours,
from the
not
public here.
county.
There's a comment.
It's not only the regular cars. I've got a cop that comes flying through here.
Eleanor, state your name for the record.
Eleanor Baptist, Yankee, Applegate Avenue. I was going down with my car. We got a stop street at Applegate. I went to turn. He comes flying down Addison, the same cop, and I think he was on Ditmore, because he comes around and flies into Ditmore. And he ain't on no call. So I don't know who it is, but there is a couple of the cops that fly down Applegate and fly down Addison as bad as the people do. Because you don't know how bad it is when I walk down and go to Mary's.
Okay.
Like he said, you take your life in your hand going around that corner. But they fly around onto Applegate. And the cop almost hit me with my car. Because he comes flying around up Applegate and down Ditmar. Didn't slow down and he was on no call. And then comes down Applegate like that too.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Yes, nothing more.
So they're no better than the regular ones if they're driving.
We're done.
Yes, yes, Madam Clerk.
Yes, Mayor and Council, first of all, I'd just like to thank Ed Murray for putting in all the electrical outlets at our box on Mathis Plaza.
One second.
And I was going to thank the mayor and Don Williams when I found out about the two of them out there cutting this tree off by the bulkheading with the mayor in a suit. I found that out. The mayor didn't have to tell me. People that saw them there told me. So I'd like to thank you guys. Also, we had a committee meeting, Public Works Committee meeting. There's some items we're going to discuss in closed session. And tomorrow night is our special meeting on the international affairs. I'm requesting all council to be present. I advertise for a special meeting, and it's an important meeting. Our 9/11 is just going along really well now. We've got a program in place, and hopefully we'll have the program typed up soon. And the 27th and the 28th is our international festival. We hope to see everybody out there. Okay, what else do I have? I guess that's about all. But I just wanted to, Ed Murray went out there, he, no sleep, no nothing, and he put in all our outlets at Mathis Plaza. Thank you.
Attaboy.
Maybe a little something.
I thought it had to be done before the end of the month, and I'm out there after work, and I'm like,
One thing you have here, the loss control report needs immediate attention. Is that
Yes.
something you need to do
Yes.
today?
The main items on that report involves the police department, and everything I believe on that report has to be taken care of immediately. And there are little items, like we have to add an eye wash down there and, you know, things like that. The one storage room,
But
again,
it's
has
being
to
taken
be.
care of by whoever.
No, we're
It's
gonna have
not.
to have it done. I
That's
was
the
gonna
problem.
meet
It's
with
not.
Don tomorrow night on it. He's in charge of buildings and grounds.
Just for the record, I wanted to indicate that I intended to rush to make your event on the 13th. My flight was supposed to come in at 7 o'clock p.m. and there was a major mechanical problem with the airplane, so we had to wait for 8 hours on the tarmac, and it was only, we came in the United States, it was 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So I'm sure you weren't still operating at that
No,
time.
no.
So.
No, I was sound asleep, but that's
Oh,
okay.
really?
But you could've came over.
Yeah.
You could've.
So,
Okay,
any public comments?
you can do public comments.
Any public comments? We have a special visitor here. This is, no.
You do have a public comment as well.
Anyone?
Brian Van Ark, Pommel Drive.
What was your name?
Brian Van Ark.
Oh, Brian, okay.
Two things. I know the last 2 months there was the reading of the Environmental Commission. I was just wondering if there's going to be any action on that.
No. Not tonight.
No,
Maybe next month or?
no, a couple of months. We've got too much going right now.
Are you taking names of people who are interested in serving on that commission?
Oh, you
I
will?
believe that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
Brian's,
Yeah,
I
Oh,
believe
okay.
Brian, part of Brian's intention is
No,
that
of
he's
course.
interested in serving on that commission.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Please submit your name, please.
Okay.
Yes. And anybody else you know will be interested in joining the commission.
Especially any additional information on background. You obviously have an environmental background. but
Absolutely.
Just any, you know,
Right.
not necessarily a full-blown resume, but, you know, if you have one great, or if you have some little, a letter that summarizes the person's experience or something like that, whether it be you or somebody else.
Right. I found the application for it online on the website. I filled it out. But
Okay, excellent. Then you can
I'll
submit
fill it
that
out.
to the clerk.
Yes. Thank you for your interest.
Thanks, Brian,
Okay,
yes.
I thought you
Actually,
meant to do anything on, we got, have to wait till after our functions. Thank you.
and the other thing was just, I mentioned it last week, the potholes. I know that you're addressing public work for the closed session, just want to make sure that that was on there. Potholes on Chamberlain Pommel Drive or anywhere else.
The closed session is personnel.
Yeah.
Right, I know, I was just making sure that that would be brought up and addressed.
Okay, but what we brought up and addressed in closed session, because
It'll be
It's a
done on
public-
Wednesday.
potholes are a public issue, personnel's a closed session issue.
Well, I know
So
she
instead
said
it's-
public works was during the closed session, so.
But personnel in the public works.
For personnel.
Also, on my report, we did order 27 new street signs. The signs that were missing and removed from the borough, I'm just waiting, I got one estimate, I'm waiting for them to submit the estimate for the caps, the crosses, and the posts now. And then hopefully, maybe by next month, we can put an order in for the street signs.
Excellent. Any other public comments?
If not, a motion to enter into
Executive session.
Murray?
Mary and Kevin, Councilman Carney,
Yes.
McCormick.
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
And Williams.
Yes. For the purpose of discussing personnel.
Can I ask everyone to step out for a minute, please?
And please take all your recording devices.
May I be right back?
We need to knock it over with.